Good day, everybody. Welcome to the third part of the fifth knowledge lecture of the Neophyte grade of the Golden Dawn as delivered to the members of the Order of the Rose Cross for those who are interested in the proficiencies or passing proficiency of the Golden Dawn from the Neophyte grade. Today's discussion will be on the last triangle of the Tree of Life on top of Malkuth. So we're actually going to cover 4 Sephiroth today. And again, like all the other lectures, if you're here for proficiency, which is mainly what this is geared towards, you're looking to understand the name in the order that it comes down on the tree, what it represents, what are some of the representations of it, so that you can then begin to apply that to your day-to-day and start to assign attributes you discover in life to pieces on the Tree of Life. And this will open you up to a bunch of different philosophical applications, which will come later as you advance through the degree system and as you become more involved with Kabbalah and get deeper into that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started with the Sephiroth number 7, which is Netzach. All right, Netzach. His translation is victory. The key word here is emotion. Its Yetziratic title is the occult intelligence, and it is represented by Venus. Its symbols are the girdle, the rose, and the lamp. And we can see right here its Hebrew representation. This Sephiroth is the lowest on the pillar of mercy or the pillar of beauty, the white pillar on the right. And I attribute, as the keyword describes it, this is your emotion. So anything emotional is going to be here, and it's ruled by Venus. So let's hear what the Golden Dawn has to say. The Hebrew name of the 7th Sephirah is Netzach, which means victory. It is the final sphere on the right-hand pillar, and as we have already stated, the lower spheres of the tree can be described in terms of human consciousness and experience. This is especially true of the 4 remaining Sephiroth, beginning with Netzach. The sphere of Netzach is the dwelling place of human instinct, emotion, and desire. It is the feeling side of the personality that can be likened to the right side of the human brain. This is where human creativity is born. Once again, the idea of polarity comes into play because Netzach is considered primarily a fire or masculine sphere, which has an opposing water sephira to balance it. But at this level on the tree, in the world of Asiya, which is the bottom world of the Kabbalah of the 4 worlds, we are truly discussing negative and positive sides of the human mind. Netzach is a dynamic force which inspires and drives us. This sphere is a reflection of the fiery energy of Geburah, but at the level of the human personality, mediated by Tiferet. Fire becomes desire and emotion. Art, music, dance, and poetry are all expressions of Netzach energy. In this sphere, we find all expressions of beauty and love, but also the less understood emotions of anger and hate, because all emotion dwells here. And it is for this reason that the energies of Netzach must be balanced by its opposite, Hod. The 7th sphere is the home of the group mind, the storehouse of images and symbols in all of us, which inspires the artist, the dancer, and the musician. Sephir Yetzer says the 7th path is the occult intelligence because it is the refulgent splendor of all the intellectual virtues which are perceived by the eyes of the intellect and by the contemplation of faith. The occult intelligence obviously refers to hidden intelligence. This is something hidden deep within ourselves that we must uncover, our divine nature that is kept hidden from us by mundane obstacles. The refulgent or brilliant splendor of the intellectual virtues is the divine white light mediated through the prism of Tiferet, reflected into many rayed hues, aspects of manifestation. And the one light has been reduced to the many for the purpose of manifestation into form. The phrase eyes of the intellect alludes to the wisdom of Hokmah at the apex of the pillar of mercy, while the passage Contemplations of Faith refers to the act of devotion, the impetus behind all spiritual attainment. Netzach is, from a Freemasonic standpoint, symbolic of our first degree. And as a Freemason, this is the Sephiroth you reflect on quite a bit. This is our emotions. And it is part of this 7, 8, and 9 make up what is called the astral triangle. All right, moving right along. I'm going to bounce over to number 8. Number 8 is Hod. Hod means splendor. Its keyword is the intellect. Its etheric title is the absolute intelligence. And it's represented by the planet Mercury, or Hermes. Its symbols are the name of power and the Masonic apron. Here's its Hebrew representation. We see here words of power, tetragrammaton. From a Freemasonic standpoint, Sephiroth 8, that represents our second degree. Or if you're in the second degree, or you're contemplating second degree, you're going to pay attention to this Sephiroth. I'm just going to deal more with the intellect, the balancing of the emotions. Now look at the tree of life. Too much emotion is bad. Too much intellect is bad. So we need to balance those two things, and that will form our foundation, which we'll get to in a moment. Golden Dawn has this to say about Hod. Hod is the 8th sphere, situated at the bottom of the pillar of severity or strength. Its name means splendor or glory, just as Netzach symbolizes raw animal instincts. Hod represents the intellectual part of the mind, to which the left brain can be assigned. It is the rational mind which organizes and categorizes. All expressions of writing, language, communication, science, and magic are assigned to Hod. All words and names of power have their origins in the sphere. We also find the idea of the individual mind here, as opposed to the group mind, which is in Netzach. It is the individual mind of Hod, which makes one aware of one's personal relationship to the divine. Hod is a lower form of the energy found in Chesed, but mediated through Tifereth. The energy of Hod is watery, feminine, and fluidic. Hod and Netzach cannot function properly one without the other. The 8th sphere is where the emotions and instincts of Netzach take form and come into action. Intellect needs the balance of emotion to drive it. Otherwise, the words and science of Hod become mere rational labelings, dead and uninspired. Likewise, emotions need the discipline of intellect to stabilize and ground, to keep the dynamic energy from being squandered. The relationship between Hod and Netzach is symbiotic. In terms of the individual, the two spheres must be in harmony in order to maintain a healthy personality. As I said, too much emotion is bad, but too much intellect is equally bad. You need to find the balance. Our society today is driven, in my opinion, almost entirely by an unbalanced emotional state. According to the Sefer Yetzirah, the 8th path is called the absolute or perfect intelligence because it is the mean of the primordial, which has no root by which it can cleave nor rest, except in the hidden places of Gedula, magnificence, from which emanates its own proper essence. It is the perfect intelligence because it is the mean of the primordial. This implies a position halfway between two extremes, force and form. Hod is the seat of the intellect. To borrow the terms of astrology, this correlates to the idea of intellect being in the house of its dignity, a placement which is advantageous or perfect. Hod's root, from which it cannot be separated, is the watery sphere of Chesed, also called Gedula, or magnificence. And these will come together to form its center on the pillar of mildness or the pillar of wisdom in the middle, Yesod, which stands for foundation, and its keyword is the astral light. Dion Fortune likened this sphere to the astral house of illusions, and it is from the astral that we can get lost, that we can pay attention to reflections that are not real, because this is where all of our thought forms emanate from or begin to crystallize before making their way into the physical world. and as such we can get lost in our own head, as it were. Its etheric title is the pure intelligence, and its representation is the moon, or Luna. Its symbols are perfume and sandals. Here we have the foundation. This is Yesod in Hebrew, stated in the middle. And the Golden Dawn has this to say on Yesod. The ninth Sephira, Yesod, whose name means foundation, is the third sphere on the middle pillar. It is the result of the union between Netzach and Hod. And now if you're looking at the image, you might say, that's the fourth sphere. Remember, this middle one here, where the pointer is, that's not a real Sephiroth. That's Da'at. It's the hidden sphere. Some call it the false sphere. It represents knowledge. But it does not really exist on the tree. We go from Keter to Tifereth to Yesod. Okay, so it is the third. The spiritual experience in Yesod is the vision of the machinery of the universe. What this implies is that Yesod is the sphere of the astral light, also known as the Akasha. This is the etheric substance which underlies all dense matter. It is the astral matrix upon which the physical universe is built. Yesod is the receptacle of influence from all of the preceding Sephiroth, which are then combined into a type of blueprint. This blueprint is made from the astral light, and this blueprint is the foundation, or etheric double, upon which the earthly plane is constructed. All events, whether natural or man-made, occur in the ethers of Yesod before they occur in the physical world. The ninth Sephira is that last push which activates the final manifestation of form. In the same manner, all the planets were born out of the mind of God, and all man-made inventions first appeared as ideas in the Yesodic part of the inventor's mind. Yesod is the seat of intuition in humankind, and in addition, most magical operations take place in the sphere of Yesod, because the magician seeks to effect changes in the physical world by manipulating the subtle currents of the astral. Like Kether and Tifereth, Yesod is androgynous, yet the energy here is also sexual, because in Yesod, the sexes are for the first time given the form that they will take in the earthly plane. At this level on the tree, Yesod is like a pregnant mother about to give birth, sired by the whole of the Sephiriotic influences above it. The child born is the manifest universe itself. According to Sefer Yetzirah, the ninth path is the pure intelligence, so called because it purifies the numerations. It proves and corrects the designing of their representation and disposes their unity, with which they are combined without diminution or division. The text states clearly that it is Yesod's duty to purify and correct the emanation. Although the emanations which flow down the tree are intrinsically pure, they may need to be proven or corrected in order to fit them into a vehicle of dense matter. Yesod also disposes the unity of these emanations so that only the most worthy manifested vehicles are designed for the reception of the divine energy, which is brought into the physical universe without becoming diminished in any way from its essential purity. And from here, my friends, we reach the end of the tree with Malkuth, the root, the kingdom. Its key word is completion, stable. Its Yetziric title is the resplendent intelligence, and its physical representation is the earth. Its symbols are the Templar or equal-armed cross, a circle, the evocation triangle, and the Hebrew letter Hech. Here we have the Tree of Life's representation of Malkuth, and it is the only Sephiroth that is split into 4 different colors to represent the elements of earth or dense matter. And here's its Hebrew representation. The Golden Dawn states this of Malkuth. Malkuth means kingdom, and it is the 10th and last sphere on the Tree of Life, which is located at the bottom of the central pillar. This is the ultimate sphere of form and of final manifestation. The material universe as we know it. Malkuth is essentially the sphere of humanity and of sensation. The physical representation of Malkuth is the planet Earth, our own terra firma. It is the seat of matter. Yet, Malkuth is more than simply the ground beneath our feet. It is also the Sephira, in which all 4 elements are based. Therefore, when discussing Malkuth in Asiya, again, the last world of the 4 worlds of the Kabbalah, We are really talking about the physical manifestations of fire, water, air, and earth. There are 3 states of matter which correspond to the elements: solid, earth; liquid, water; and gas, air. Fire is assigned to the principle of electricity. The sum of all physical phenomena are classified under the 4 elements in order to comprehend their character. All of these elements are used to describe the material nature of Malkuth. Malkuth is the ultimate receptacle for the combined current of energy on the entire tree of life. While the other Sephiroth are basically kinetic and mobile, Malkuth is the only sphere which has achieved stability and inertia, a period of rest. It is also the only sphere which is not a part of a triad. The 10th and final sphere receives the etheric framework of manifestation, the influences from Yesod, and completes the building process by grounding the energy in matter. Malkuth is the container for the emanations of the other 9 Sephiroth. As the absolute sphere of form and passivity, the fertile Malkuth is also known as the inferior mother, or the microprosopis, as opposed to the great mother Bina, the bridge, and the queen. Another title is the gate, which implies that we, as physical beings, live out our lives in the realm of Malkuth, only to pass through the gate once leaving our bodies behind. The 10th Sephira is seen as the completion of the tree of life in one sense and the beginning of a new tree in another, because Malkuth is a lower reflection of Kether, and is in fact the Kether of another tree. And we talked about that in another video, where the trees link together to form the worlds, and what is also known as Jacob's ladder. And let us not forget the tree of death, which resides below the tree of life. As above, so below. According to Sefer Yetzirah, the 10th path is the resplendent intelligence, so called because it is exalted above every head, and sits on the throne of Bina. It illuminates the splendor of all the lights, and causes an influence to emanate from the Prince of Countenances, the angel of Keter. The title Resplendent Intelligence implies a close relationship between Malkuth and Kether, the first and last sphere of the tree. And at this point, the emanations are complete, and the result is the brilliance of the unified tree of life. Malkuth now becomes Kether of another tree on another level. The mention of the throne of Bina implies another close relationship. Bina, the great mother, is the primordial giver of form, while Malkuth, the lesser mother, is the final giver of form. And thus concludes the 5th knowledge lecture of the Neophyte grade. We covered quite a bit of information in those in all of the 3 videos. And so now what I would suggest is take time, review those notes, and just, again, your goal is to take that tree, understand how it's laid out from top to bottom, and what those Sephiroth are representative of. We will be getting much, much deeper into the tree of life as you advance through the degrees. And remember, the Golden Dawn, as many Rosicrucian orders, how they set their degrees is based off of the tree of life. As a neophyte, you're not on the tree yet. You are between a profane and an initiate. Once you become initiated into the Rosicrucian order, you are elevated to the first grade, the first degree, which is Malkuth. So you'll see 1 equals 10 right now. A neophyte is 0 equals 0. So tree of life is going to be something you're going to be very familiar with throughout your entire career as an esotericist. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section or contact me on Discord or Facebook or wherever you may have my contact information. I'm happy to talk about this type of information and this type of topic. This is one of my favorite things to do. Otherwise, next we have the final knowledge lecture. There is a bonus lecture that will come after that, but the last part of the knowledge lecture of the Neophyte grade, and it's a daunting one. That's to go over the Hebrew alphabet and all 22 letters therein. So absorb the tree of life, take a breath, and when we're ready, we will proceed to the Hebrew alphabet. Until then, stay safe. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.